obviously I got an obsession with Caitlin Clark. So I want to bring a couple of things because she's so critical. And again, as the Jackie Robinson, she has success. It's going to encourage and inspire other women.
This has been happening. And that, I think, is what's been such a shock for all of us, that other people are surprised by this. I would almost joke. I'd be like, I would have loved to have shut up and dribble.
Sue Bird's got something to say about racism in the WNBA, and it's not what you might expect. She's pointing fingers, but not at who you think. Want to know who she says is really behind the league's problems? Listen up, because this is big. Racism in the WNBA isn't new, but Sue Bird's take on it? It's about to flip everything we thought we knew about the league's struggles upside down. You know how everyone's always talking about racism from the outside? Well, Bird's saying we need to look closer to home.
And even though, Caitlin's doing it very subtly, if at all, maybe it's all unintentional, but I do know she's the target. And I saw that Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe were talking about this, and they're all trying to frame this, the Caitlin Clark deal.
And here's the kicker. By the end of this video, you're gonna see how racism, marketing, and straight up basketball skills are all mixed up in the WNBA's future. Trust me, it's not as simple as black and white. It's way messier than that. You ready to dive into this wild story? Let's go. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing.
In this racial envelope, and they're wrong, and I'm going to explain to you why they're wrong, but we're going to start with Sue Bird.
Can we just call a spade a spade? Racism has been impacting the WNBA well before this year.
It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. You thought racism in the WNBA was coming from the outside? Think again. Sue Bird's about to drop a truth bomb that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about the league's struggles. Sue Bird's been in the game long enough to see it all, and she's not holding back anymore. She's saying racism has been messing with the WNBA way before this year. But here's where it gets wild. Bird thinks Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation, is being used as a pawn in this whole race discussion. Can you believe it? Now you might be thinking, what's Clark got to do with this? Well, that's exactly Bird's point. The WNBA's been fighting racism and sexism for years, but now it's all tangled up with marketing and star power. And guess who's caught in the middle? Yep, Clark. Bird's frustrated. And can you blame her? She's saying, we're still not allowed to be focused on for our basketball play. That's insane, right? These women are out there bawling their hearts out, and people are still hung up on race instead of their sick crossovers and clutch three-pointers. But here's the real kicker. Bird's not just talking about racism from fans or the media. She's pointing at something deeper, something inside the WNBA itself.
This is not a new thing.
Sure.
This is, and in that way, I do think Caitlin's being used as a pawn. Caitlin didn't bring racism to the WNBA.
It's like the league can't escape this conversation even when they're trying to showcase their skills. Think about it. How many times have you heard about WNBA players' skills compared to how often you've heard about race issues in the league? It's crazy, right? These women are some of the best athletes in the world, but they're still fighting just to be seen as basketball players first. And that's the real problem Bird's exposing. It's not just about race. It's about how racism is keeping us from seeing the incredible basketball these women are playing. We're so busy talking about who looks like what or who said what about race that we're missing out on some of the best basketball being played right now. Just when you thought you understood the WNBA's challenges, a new theory emerges that turns everything on its head. What if the secret to the league's success isn't about fighting racism, but about embracing a certain image? The rise of Caitlin Clark might hold the key to unlocking this mystery. You know how everyone's been talking about racism in the WNBA? Well, some critics are saying that's not even the real problem. They're pointing at something totally different, marketing and star power. Can you believe it? These folks are saying the WNBA's struggles have more to do with how they're selling the game than anything else. But here's where it gets wild. There's this controversial idea floating around that some players' looks and behavior might be turning off fans. I know, it sounds crazy, right? But get this, some people are actually saying that too many women tatted up and looking like men is making the league less attractive to potential fans. That's insane. Now, let's talk about Caitlin Clark for a second. She's like this fresh-faced rookie who's taking the league by storm. Her traditional appearance and exciting style of play are drawing crowds like nobody's business. It's like night and day compared to what some of these critics are complaining about. But you know what's really messed up? The way people look at male and female athletes is totally different. Think about it. Black players in the NBA and NFL don't have any trouble packing stadiums. So why is it different for black women in the WNBA? It doesn't make any sense. Here's the thing though, this isn't just about racism or bad marketing. It's way bigger than that. It's about how our whole society looks at women in sports. We're still stuck in this weird place where we can't seem to appreciate female athletes for their skills without getting hung up on how they look or what they stand for off the court. It's like the WNBA can't catch a break. They're trying to showcase amazing basketball, but they keep getting dragged into these conversations about race and image. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out there proving that when you focus on the game, people will show up. So what's the real problem here? Is it racism, bad marketing, or is it something deeper like how we as a society still can't seem to value women's sports the same way we do men's? It's a tough question, and there's no easy answer. Amidst all the debates about racism and marketing, one WNBA legend believes she's cracked the code. Sue Bird's take on the league's struggles might just blow your mind. She's not just talking about fighting racism or changing how players look. Nah, she's aiming for something bigger, something that could change the game forever. You ready for this? Sue Bird's saying the key to pushing the WNBA forward is standing up against both racism and sexism. But here's the kicker. It's not just about protesting. It's about building a backbone, creating an identity that's tough as nails. These players have been through the ringer, and they're coming out stronger than ever. But hold up, it's not that simple. Bird's pointing out this crazy balancing act the WNBA's got to pull off. On one hand, they're tackling these huge social issues. On the other, they're trying to show off their sick basketball skills. It's like trying to juggle while riding a unicycle. Not easy, but when you nail it, it's incredible. Now, let's talk about Caitlin Clark for a sec. Bird thinks players like her are game changers, and not just on the court. Clark's success is like a spotlight, drawing everyone's attention back to what really matters, the insane level of basketball these women are playing. It's like, hey, remember why we're here? To watch some amazing hoops. But you know what's really wild? Bird drops this bomb. It feels good to stand up for yourself. It feels even better to stand up for others. Can you imagine? These players aren't just fighting for themselves. They're fighting for each other, for the future of the sport. That's some next level stuff right there. So what's the real solution here? It's not about ignoring racism. It's definitely not about telling players to change how they look. Nah, it's way simpler and way harder at the same time. It's about celebrating all the different kinds of awesome in the WNBA while putting the spotlight back on the incredible basketball being played. Think about it. You've got players from all walks of life, all bringing their unique style to the court. That diversity, that's not a problem. That's the WNBA's superpower. It's what makes the league special. And when you combine that with the insane talent these women have, that's when the magic happens. But here's the thing, it's not just on the players or the league to make this happen. It's on us, the fans, the media, everyone who loves basketball. We've got to shift our focus. Stop getting hung up on what players look like or what they stand for off the court. Start appreciating the ridiculous skills they're bringing to every game. All right, let's talk about where women's basketball is headed. Sue Bird's got it figured out. It's not about choosing between fighting racism and showing off skills. It's about doing both at the same time. Crazy, right? Think about it. These players are dealing with some heavy stuff off the court, but when they step on the hardwood, they're absolute beasts. And that's what we need to focus on. Here's the real kicker. The future of the WNBA isn't just about the players or the league. It's about us, the fans. Can we look past all the noise and see the incredible athletes right in front of us? That's the million-dollar question. So next time you watch a WNBA game, try this. Just watch the basketball. You might be surprised at how amazing these women really are.